Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive with us. Today we are going to be diving into a play that is still making waves, even though it premiered all the way back in 1891.
Oh, yeah, 1891, that's like over a century ago.
Seriously. And people are still talking about it, Henrik Ibsen's Hedda Gabler.
I think everyone knows that feeling of like being stuck, Like you're living someone else's life and you're just waiting for something more.
Oh my gosh, yes. Like you're just going through the motions, but deep down, you're just yearning for something more fulfilling, more you.
Uh-huh.
That's Hedda in a nutshell.
Totally. And that's what we are going to be unpacking today, why this play, written over a century ago, still resonates with us now. We've got a bunch of interesting stuff to dig into, like a complete plot summary, character analyses, and some pretty thought-provoking essays about the play's themes. One of the things that's so fascinating about Hedda Gabler is that when it first came out, it was considered, shockingly modern.
Really? Like,
Oh.
how so? What made it so different back then?
Well, back in those days, theater was all about spectacle, like big historical dramas, grand romances.
No, all larger-than-life stuff.
Exactly. But Ibsen wanted to portray life as it really was, with all its messiness and contradictions, like holding up a mirror to society and saying, hey, this is us.
And Hedda Gabler definitely does that. It pulls you right into this marriage that seems so normal on the surface, but underneath, there's this, undercurrent of dissatisfaction and longing that's so relatable, even today.
It's so true.
It's kind of the difference between watching, a super stylized period drama versus something like Mad Men. They're both set in the past, but one keeps you at arm's length.
Totally, and the other just sucks you right in.
Yeah. You're right there with the characters, feeling everything they feel.
And one of the ways Ibsen achieves this realism is by setting the play in a very specific social context, which is late 19th century Norway.
Which we have to talk about.
Yeah.
Because that really sets the stage for Hedda's character.
Oh, absolutely, because back then, Norway had incredibly rigid social expectations, especially for women.
Which makes it even more tragic when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because Hedda is this crazy, intelligent, quick-witted woman, but she's stuck in a world that doesn't really value those qualities in a woman.
Right. Like she's got all this potential, but nowhere to direct it.
Exactly. And so we meet her right after their honeymoon, and she's already bored out of her mind. Can you imagine?
Well, and it's not just like, oh, I'm over the honeymoon phase kind of boredom, right? This is a deeper dissatisfaction with the limited options available to her as a woman in that time and place.
Totally. She's suffocating under the weight of those societal expectations, and you can just feel it.
It's palpable.
And then, throwing a match on a powder keg, in walks Eilert Lovborg.
Right. Talk about shaking things up.
He's like the wild card in all of this. George's academic rival. And to make things even juicier,
Oh, tell me it's not.
it is. Hedda's old flame.
You're kidding. See, this is why this play is so good.
Right. It's like Ibsen just knew how to push all the right buttons.
He did. So tell me more about Eilert. What's his deal?
Okay, so, Eilert. He's one of those brilliant but troubled types. Super smart scholar, but also, struggled with drinking, had a bit of a self-destructive streak.
Yeah, I can see that.
And his history with Hedda, let's just say it's complicated.
Oh, there's always a complicated past. Spill the tea.
It's not exactly your storybook romance, There are hints of passion, maybe even some darkness there, but Ibsen keeps it kind of mysterious.
Oh, Ibsen, you old fox. He loved leaving us hanging.
He did.
Eh.
But one thing's for sure, the connection between Hedda and Eilert, it's definitely still there.
Yeah.
You can just feel the electricity when they're in the same room.
Oh, I bet. It's like a powder keg just waiting to explode. And to make things even more interesting, he doesn't show up alone, does he?
Nope. He brings along Mrs. Elvsted, who just adds another layer of drama to the whole situation.
Oh, tell me more. Tell me more.
So, Mrs. Elvsted, she and Hedda go way back. Former classmates, in fact. But hold on, because here's where it gets good. She left her husband.
Oh, no, she didn't. That's scandalous.
Oh, it was. Remember, this is 19th century Norway, so a woman leaving her husband, that's like social suicide.
It really makes you think about how much things have changed, doesn't it? But also how some things, unfortunately, stay the same.
That's what I love about Ibsen, though. He really makes you think. But yeah, Mrs. Elvsted, she left her husband to be with Eilert to support his work.
Wow. So she's like the picture of quiet devotion then.
Exactly. And that makes her such a stark contrast to Hedda. It's like they represent two completely different paths for women of that time.
Right. Like Mrs. Elfstead found a way to break free, to find fulfillment, but she's still so vulnerable, especially when it comes to Eilert and maybe even Hedda.
Which, of course, makes her the perfect target for Hedda's games.
Oh, no. Here we go.
Hedda sees how Mrs. Elfstead is, her innocence, and it's like she can't resist messing with her. You know how some people just can't resist poking at a vulnerable spot?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's like a game to them, seeing how people will react.
Exactly. And with Mrs. Elfstead, Hedda sees a chance to exert some control, to stir up trouble. It's almost like she's bored with her own life, so she's trying to create drama in someone else's.
That's cold.
It is.
Yeah.
But that's Hedda for you. She's not always the most likable character, but she's definitely fascinating. Oh, and we haven't even gotten to Judge Brack yet. He's another piece of this puzzle.
Judge Brack. Fill me in. Who's he in all of this?
So if Eilert is the spark, Judge Brack is... I don't know. He's like the smoke that just lingers in the air. He's always around observing everything, and he can be kind of charming.
I've met those types.
Right. You never know if they're being genuine or not, and he's got this whole cynical vibe going on, like he's seen it all and then some.
Sounds a little ominous. Like you can't trust a word he says.
That's the thing. You really can't. But that's also what makes him so intriguing. He adds this whole other layer of tension to the story.
I bet. And how does he fit into things with Hedda?
Well, he's clearly attracted to her, but he also sees right through her, which both intrigues and kind of scares her at the same time. He represents this temptation for her, a way out of her suffocating marriage, but
there's always a but.
But at what cost? That's the question, isn't it?
It always is. With Judge Brack, something tells me the price of freedom might be pretty steep. So we've got this pressure cooker of a situation brewing with all these characters and their tangled relationships. What happens next?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Buckle up, because Ibsen does not believe in letting his audience off easy.
He does not. It's like he's meticulously setting up a line of dominoes.
And just when you think you know where they're all going to fall...
he knocks them down in a way you'd never expect. So you were saying the plot thickens.
It does. It really does. And one of the things that makes Hedda Gabler so captivating is how Ibsen uses these little details, these seemingly insignificant things.
Right, like a gesture.
Exactly. To build suspense and foreshadow the drama that's about to unfold. It's like he's dropping hints along the way, but you don't even realize it until, bam, everything comes crashing together.
And nowhere is this more apparent than in those two key objects we talked about, remember? Hedda's pistols and Eilert's manuscript.
Okay, yes. The pistols, talk about Chekhov's gun, right? You can't just mention pistols in a play and not expect them to go off at some point.
Exactly. So what do you think they represent in the grand scheme of things? Just like a dangerous object or something more?
Well, on the surface, they're obviously dangerous, right? But they're also a symbol of Hedda's power, or at least her desire for it.
That makes sense. In a world where she feels totally powerless, those pistols give her a sense of control, a very dangerous kind of control, but still.
Totally. And it's even more chilling when you realize that Eilert's manuscript becomes wrapped up in all of this, too.
Oh, absolutely. You can't forget about the manuscript. I mean, that's Eilert's entire life's work, his heart and soul poured out onto those pages.
Right. It's like this tangible representation of his talent, his potential, and it becomes this pawn in Hedda's game.
Doesn't it? She uses it to manipulate everyone around her, playing Eilert and George off each other like it's nothing. It really makes you think about the fine line between love, ambition, and destruction.
It does. And that ending, though, talk about leaving the audience shook, like, whoa, Ibsen, I need a minute to process all of that.
I know, right? He really doesn't hold back. That's part of what makes this play so amazing. That ambiguous ending, it just stays with you long after the curtain falls. You're left wondering, was Hedda a victim of her circumstances, or did she orchestrate everyone's downfall?
Maybe even a little bit of both.
Exactly. It's like Ibsen is holding up a mirror to the audience and saying, you tell me, what do you think?
I love that. It's what makes Hedda Gabler such a timeless piece of art. It sparks debate and makes you really think about the complexities of human nature.
And not just in Ibsen's time, but even now. This play has been reimagined so many times. Stage productions, movies, even an opera, and it's still so relevant today.
Think about it. Hedda in the 21st century. Imagine her with a Twitter account. It's both a hilarious and terrifying thought.
Seriously. Or imagine her navigating the corporate world, the dating scene. Would she find an outlet for her ambition and intellect? Or would she still be wrestling with that same sense of boredom and discontent?
Right. Because ultimately, Hedda Gabler is about so much more than just one woman in 19th century Norway. It's about the universal human struggle for meaning, for freedom, for control over our own lives.
It's about the choices we make and the consequences that follow, for better or for worse. And Ibsen doesn't shy away from those tough questions, those messy truths about what it means to be human. He lays it all out on the table for us to grapple with.
Exactly. And whether you love Hedda or love to hate her, you can't deny that she's one of the most unforgettable characters in literature. She's flawed, she's frustrating, but she's also undeniably human, which I think is why she still resonates with us today.
I think so too. She's a reminder that even though times change, some things never really do.
Well said. So if you haven't yet experienced Hedda Gabler, I highly recommend checking it out. It's one of those plays that will stay with you long after you finish it. Read it, watch it, discuss it, and let us know what you think. That's it for our deep dive into the world of Hedda Gabler, but trust us, this conversation is far from over. Until next time.